have you ever been through any struggles being a women preacher, or do you feel like that women get slighted a little bit with men? And tell us just a little bit about your experience with that, or if you had any experience.
I think that this is an area or a taboo type of area that a lot of people do not want to discuss, especially in the body of Christ, because nobody want to identify that there is a broken down system within the walls of the body of Christ, and that is division. Simply, there is a division with female preachers and of course the stigma of female pastors, right? Because I am also a pastor of one of the growing churches here in New York City. And so there is a stigma as it relates to female preachers. A lot of female preachers are still not welcome in a lot of denominations. There's still a lot of female preachers that are not welcome on platforms that males have dominated even up until now. And so it is really, really, it can be discouraging to a lot of female preachers. It can be discouraging as you're traveling, and especially if you are an itinerant preacher, a lot of assignments you will not get because they simply feel that you're called to just pray. They feel that you're called to pray and intercede for the men, and you're called to be there and to support the male, and not speak in atmospheres such as that, and I think that women of my age and even older, our older generation that are trailblazing ahead of us, like Beth Moore, who just came out with the big movement, Me Too movement, because she made she was unfortunately in a lot of the Me Too movement because she spoke up for women in ministry. And, and so we need more women like that will speak up and say, no, we are valuable. We have something to say, it's neither he or she in the gospel of Jesus Christ. God has called all of us with an assignment. And when we do our assignment and when we stay in our lane, God can grow the church the way he wants to grow the church, and so we know it's throughout the entire Bible, that there are many women in the Bible. Prophetess Deborah, there's so many women in the Bible that God has called to do a work for the kingdom. And so we have to honor women, and we have to begin to continue to put them in their place and elevate them and let them know that it's okay for you, for the ministry that God has placed on the inside of you, to go out and minister to the lost. So absolutely. Have I experienced it? Absolutely. One thing, Quonda, that I realized is I don't wait for lanes. I create them.
Yes.
I don't wait for opportunities. I create opportunities for other people and women of my age. And so when I first started out in ministry, of course, people was calling me during that time to preach the gospel. But then when I began to get higher up in ministry, I realized that there is a boys club that we have not identified, and so because of that, God said, well, what are you waiting on? I gave you the vision. I gave you the purpose. I gave you the assignment, and I'm telling you to go without the resources, without the who's who, without somebody patting you on the back. And for many, many years in my ministry, it's just been me and God. And a lot of people say, well, how did you put off that conference? How did you get all these people together? Number one is because of the hand of God that is on our lives that bring crowds to you, right? Yeah. And then second, when you rely on the blueprint of God and follow the blueprint that he called you to do, then he'll bring the help that you need. He'll bring the resources that you need. And so that's what I did. That's what I did.